Trump has a Pakistan problem. India's patience may be running out. Finepoint. The recent India-Pakistan conflict was a litmus test for India-US strategic ties. And unfortunately, the United States, under President Donald Trump, did not pass. From announcing a ceasefire to offering to mediate on Kashmir, to bizarrely claiming he averted a nuclear war using trade threats, Trump's actions betrayed a lack of understanding and, perhaps more worryingly, a hangover of America's old entanglements with Pakistan. This is beyond just bad optics. This is bad policy. But it gets way worse. Trump's entanglement with Pakistan on a personal level for business deals no less is emerging as a major unforeseen challenge as well. And Trump has been making a lot of statements favorable to Pakistan, equating the terror-sponsoring nation with the terror victim, India. There's a lot going on under the surface that holds the answers. Trump's personal interest in Pakistan is a bolt out of the blue. While Pakistan is sponsoring cross-border terrorism against India, known jihadists Ismail Royer and Sheikh Hamza Yusuf, with alleged past ties with Lashkar-Taiba, Al-Qaeda, and Hamas, have been reportedly appointed to a White House advisory board under the Religious Liberty Commission. This has left Trump's own support base scratching its head. Another Trump ally, Gentry Beach, has been making backroom business deals in Pakistan, Bangladesh, and Turkey. Get this, the Trump family is directly involved in business with Pakistan through their firm, World Liberty Financial. Trump's family, including his sons Eric and Don Jr., owns a 60% stake in WLF, which recently entered a deal with Pakistan Crypto Council, a hastily launched crypto firm with a vision to make Islamabad the region's crypto capital. The PCC was only a month old when Trump's close aide Steve Witkoff's son, Zachary, was entertained by Pakistani PM Shahbaz Sharif as well as Army Chief Asim Munir. This was just days before the Pahalgam terror attack took place. It seems that Trump's open-air deal-making has taken a dark turn. Sometimes, truth is indeed stranger than fiction. And Trump's recent actions have given it all away. On May 10, when the India-Pakistan conflict entered its peak and India attacked at least 11 Pakistani air bases going as far as the Norcon air base in Rawalpindi, Trump announced a ceasefire between the two countries. The announcement came abruptly, and it appeared as if the US, a big daddy, managed to make two brothers India and Pakistan stop fighting. To others, it seemed as if the US bailed Pakistan out exactly when India had the upper hand. But it soon became clear that Trump was hogging the credit for something India had achieved with sheer military dominance. Here's what happened. Pakistan felt its nuclear command center and nuclear stockpiles were in danger of being attacked, and rushed to the United States. U.S. Secretary of State and National Security Advisor Marco Rubio held a phone call with Army Chief Asim Munir, which is rare in itself. The message from the U.S. was that Pakistan must reach out to India instantly. Meanwhile, India was urged by the U.S. to give talks a chance, but India's conditions were simple: no more escalation from Pakistan's side and no more terror attacks. It was reported that the Pakistani DGMO picked up the phone and made the call to New Delhi at around 1 p.m., and about 2.5 hours later, talks were on and the two nations worked out a quick understanding to cease fire. Nothing concrete, nothing on paper. According to PM Modi, Pakistan agreed to India's conditions: no terror activities and no military aggression, and India has only suspended its retaliatory action for now and is monitoring Pakistan's every step closely. Contrary to what many may think, India was not held back by the US. India had been urging Pakistan to stand down since May 7, when 9 terror bases were struck by India. Pakistan did not heed that advice until May 10 when the stakes rose beyond its imagination. India had achieved its stated objective: the terror camps it targeted had been decimated. In fact, Operation Sindoor took a leap further as India destroyed a number of Pakistani military installations. The message was as clear as the damage. India had established air superiority over Pakistan, and if Islamabad pursued continued escalation, it would face devastating consequences. India's answer to every Pakistani escalation would be larger and greater than the last one. And Donald Trump's ceasefire announcement too, turns out, came from Pakistan. Right after the understanding with India was reached, Pakistan informed the US, and based on that input, Trump made the declaration. This came even as nothing was communicated to Trump from the Indian side. This was reckless not only because the US had no role in that discussion, but also because the Indian people were now hearing about a ceasefire not from the Indian leadership but from the White House. Talk about unprofessionalism and poor diplomacy. But Trump did not stop there. He soon offered to mediate on Kashmir, again playing into the hands of Pakistan and challenging a cardinal principle that India goes by: no third parties or internationalization of the Kashmir issue, and no talks except on Pakistan-occupied Kashmir. This was not the first time Trump did this. He made a similar pitch in 2019 and stepped back when he received pushback from India. It seems no lessons were learned back then. Trump also claimed that he threatened the two countries over trade, which got them to stop fighting. The pushback from India was solid and serious through and through. Instead of allowing Trump to steal the limelight on this sensitive issue, India officially stated that the US had no role in the ceasefire talks. Kashmir is not up for third-party mediation, and most interestingly, trade never came up. So was Trump lying? India generally avoids embarrassing Trump, often dismissing his loose talk as part of his deal-making style. But this time, India's statements came at the risk of making Trump look like a liar. That just goes to show how serious India is about the matter and how Trump stepped way out of line. This was not the time to humor his main character syndrome. And by the time he was in Qatar last week, his position was slightly watered down. I don't want to say I did, but I surely helped settle the problem between India and Pakistan last week, which was becoming more and more hostile. All of a sudden, you saw missiles of different types. We got it settled. For Trump, proving his role as an able peacemaker is important messaging to his base, especially at a time when the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Gaza wars refuse to die down despite his intervention. But with the reckless behavior, Trump has lost considerable ground among Indians, who had so far believed that he would stand up against terror. Trump's repeated attempts to equate India and Pakistan to position himself as some sort of deal broker are not just factually incorrect, but diplomatically damaging. Yes, the US condemned the Pahalgam terror attack, and also acknowledged that a response from India was warranted. But condemnation without consequence means little. There was no serious reckoning with Pakistan's role. The IMF bailouts to Pakistan are progressing undisturbed despite the fact that Pakistan funds terror brazenly. There's no substantive pressure on Pakistan to curb terror, no reckoning of its belligerent military dictatorship or its shameless nuclear threats. Instead, Trump made it about the question of Kashmir and not Islamist terrorism, which is exactly what Pakistan wants. There are also deeper considerations at play. Pakistan's nuclear blackmail has a hold on the White House, which monitors its nukes with a presence on the ground. US-Pakistan military intelligence links remain active and important to the US. The US thinks bailing Pakistan out will help counter Chinese influence. Pakistan's American weaponry and major non-NATO ally status also prevent a clean cut with the US. The USA's approach remains untrustworthy from trade to security, which is expected to remain a major challenge despite the Trump-Modi equation, which has been in itself jeopardized by Trump's main character syndrome and, as we see now, his personal links with Islamabad. This is the same Donald Trump that ceased military aid to Pakistan back in 2018, citing its role in backing terror against US forces in Afghanistan. Trump is no stranger to Pakistan's ways. But when it comes to India facing the same problem on a larger scale, Pakistan has been given a free pass. This echoes a tired US policy playbook. Use Pakistan for tactical short-term goals as it did in Afghanistan for decades, ignore its long-term threat as a terror sponsor despite 9/11, the beheading of journalist Daniel Pearl, or Osama bin Laden being found just a stone's throw away from a major ISI facility in Pakistan's Abbottabad. In fact, Pakistan even revealed all its cards with impunity when it celebrated the Taliban's takeover of Kabul at a time when US soldiers were running for their lives during the Afghanistan withdrawal of 2021. 13 of them were blown up in a suicide bombing, and billions worth of American equipment was seized by the Pakistan-backed Taliban, the same Pakistan that received billions of dollars from the US to fight its war on terror. The snake has bitten its master more times than we can count. Pakistan is not just India's problem. And when it comes to Pakistan's terror machine, Washington bears part of the blame. It funded Pakistan's rogue military with well over $70 billion over decades, originally to fight the Soviets in Afghanistan and later the Taliban. But much of that money was diverted to jihadist groups like Jaish-e-Mohammed and Lashkar-Taiba targeting India. Even Pakistan's nuclear program was allowed to slide. The US helped create the mess. Now, it must help clean it up. Trump's unholy romance with Pakistan runs counter to his administration's stand on terrorism. Trump's current team gets it. Tulsi Gabbard, Pete Hegseth, Marco Rubio, J.D. Vance, they all know what Pakistan is. So what's the hold up? Swipe left for next video. India doesn't need the USA's help to deal with Pakistan, it's done so since 1947. But as a matter of friendship and trust, with the US and India inching closer and becoming major defense partners, this thorn in the relationship must be ironed out. The US needs to be a party in the defanging of Pakistan, not a bystander or worse, its bailout daddy. India must make its stance clear. If the US expects transactional gains in return for correcting its approach to Pakistan, it risks enabling Pakistan's terror apparatus against not just India but itself, and not to mention, stunting the trajectory of India-US ties. Turning a blind eye to Pakistan's terror industry while pitching F-35s to India is Trump indulging in a dangerous play lost on nobody, one that could ultimately undermine a vital and strategic defense partnership. Hey, race to hoping that better sense prevails in the White House. Latest blogs.